Hey, as we get closer to exams, I wanted to give you some options for Examview and doing imports and getting questions into Examview. Examview is a program that's installed in all of our computers, and some software companies and some textbooks give you banks. Well, if you don't have a bank or your bank's not really up to par, you can still use Examview to create tests. It's actually a great way to save tests because you can print them in different formats, you can get them into Moodle. It's actually a really cool tool to use. But now, as most of us have been around teaching for a while, maybe some of our tests are already in Word format. What I'm going to show you is how to take a Word test and get that into Examview using an import. Okay, so we're going to learn how to import stuff. However, in order to do this, you need to tweak the format. And if you have a Word document that has 500 questions, this might take a little while. So it's something to consider when you want to do this. Like, you may or may not want to do an import depending on how much work you have to do. All right, and I'll give you some other options about what you can do for other situations. All right, so let's say you have, a short quiz or test and it's multiple choice, true or false, fill in the blank. You have to make sure that you have it in the right format. Now, if you look here, I have this little document for you, and I saved this. It's on the share drive. So when you go to your folder and you go to Staff Shared, MCC Staff Shared, there's a folder called Examview, and I put that document here for you, okay? This is also where you would find the banks. Any bank that a teacher has given one of us, Mark and I, here it is, we've loaded on here. So you have all these shared banks. And by the way, if you want to do this, if you want to create a test and you are out of the building, be sure to copy your bank over somewhere locally, because if you're off campus, you're not going to be able to access these files. Alrighty, so what to do, and these are all here step by step, but I'm going to show you how to do this. If you have a Word document, and I've created just one little question here, you have to format it a particular way. And if you notice, I have the type of question up here, multiple choice. I have number one, my question, and I have my 4 options. You could have 5 options, you could have 3 options, you could have 2 options. What's super important to know is when you're going to do an import is that you have to designate what the answer is. And to do that, you do ANS colon followed by the answer, okay? Also, in that Word document I showed you here, if you do control and press this link here, it'll give you a document that looks like this. It's a PDF. And this is a model of what your questions should look like. So if you have a true or false, you have to put the questions and then put either answer ANST or false. You don't have to worry about this is your difficulty level or objectives. You don't have to do any of that. You can survive just by doing ANS. Okay. So again, if you have like a lot of questions, this could be a pain in the butt to do. Completely up to you though. Okay. So you could set this up. If you have a few questions you want to do at a time, fine. Just make sure it has to follow this format. Okay. And the way I got to this document was by hitting control and following this link here. Okay. So if you need a model, that's where you can find it. All right. So once you get it in the format that you want, to do an import, we're going to use the Examview import tool. We find that by going to our programs, and we're going to go to e-instruction is the folder, and within that folder we're going to Examview assessment, and we want to go to import utility. Okay, this is what we're going to use. Now if you notice, this Examview import only takes what's called RTFs. It's up here, RTF format. So it's not going to save a .doc or .docx. It's only going to save a .rtf, which is rich text format. So the first step you got to do after you've formatted everything is you need to get it in RTF. So we're going back to my file here. I'm going to go File, Save As. And one of the options here, if you've never noticed, is RTF. So whatever you've worked in, if you were in .docx, you can save it as a rich text format. And save it someplace that you'll remember. I stuck mine on the desktop temporarily just to show you. So it's RTF. Now, here's something that's important, and it's going to frustrate you if you don't do this. When you're done formatting and this is ready to be imported, you need to close the file. Examview import will go through all the steps and at the end tell you, oh, you got to close it. So close it before you do the import. If not, you're just going to get angry. Trust me. All right, so this pops up, and this is telling you, okay, what file do you want me to import and where do you want me to put it? So what you have to do is this middle folder, not this one, this middle folder. This will help you go find your file. So my file is on my desktop, and you could have put it wherever. I'll put mine on my desktop, and it's this one, and it's .rtf. This folder down here says, where do you want me to save the bank after? You can save it on your desktop. You can save it in a special file. We do have a local Examview folder. You could put it on the share drive if you're on campus. Fine, okay? Wherever you want to put it. I'm going to also put this on desktop just to keep my life easier for now. So you have to tell it which file you want and where do you want to put it when it's done. And then we hit next. These are all optional things. You do not have to do anything here if you don't want to. You can leave everything the way it is. So I'm going to hit next. If you want to play with this, fine. Here's where you can change some style things, okay? It's not exactly necessary, but if you wanted to change your multiple choice to be different numbers or bubbles or whatever, you could do that here. But we don't need to do it. We're just going to hit next. And all this stuff, blah, 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 you just hit next. And then now that we've gone through all those options, you'll notice, oh, I'm going to say yes because I've already done the import, so it's repeating. What you'll notice is if your questions are all properly formatted, it'll say reading multiple choice, and then it'll list all your questions. Sometimes it might say error, and it might say because the file's open or can't read. That means it must be something wrong or a little bit off at your formatting. But once you've gone through and once it's done, it's saved, okay? I'm going to close this now because it's done. And on my desktop, I have a new bank here. And those of you that are familiar with Examview, I can take all those questions and use them to make a test on Examview. So I hope that helps for import. It is an easy method if you have a few questions and you just want to format them and change them around. If you have a million questions, might take a while to format them all correctly, so you might want to consider doing batches like chapters. The other thing I want to suggest is if you do have tests pre-made and you don't want to bother reformatting, like it's just not your thing, it's not something that you would be interested in doing, you can also manually put in questions. So I'm going to show you the test generator. You can have your Word document open with the questions that you like, and you can copy and paste them into Examview directly. So I'm going to create a new test, and whatever, I'm just going to give this a silly name for now. You can pick from a bank that you have, you can pick from the bank that you just made, whatever. Or you can create questions from scratch. If I'm going to do a new multiple choice, and let's say I don't want to import. If you had a test somewhere before and you wanted to use it, so I'm going to use my Muppet question here, you can copy and paste your questions. So I want to copy this question, put it here. And now I want to go copy and put my options in. So I have, Kermit, Donald, Mickey. This could be cumbersome, but you can put your options here. Actually, it's probably faster if I just do this. Mickey, and who was my last one? I forgot who that was. I'm going to put She-Ra for now, because right now I'm having a brain fart. Okay, if you make a question from scratch, you have to designate what the correct answer is, and you can put your points if you'd like to. So if you go to information here, you can put how many points it's worth. You can also fill in all of this crazy stuff, how difficult the question is, which learning objective it is, which local standard or Common Core, all that stuff if you want, or you don't have to either, okay? Not a big deal. So you can make questions like this. You can do 4 choices. If you wanted to add more choices, this is how you would do it. And then you would record the question. So this might be a viable option for some of you too. If you have some questions that you want to put in that you've used in the past and you don't feel like doing the import and formatting, this could be a way to do that. Okay, you can also add different types of questions. So you could do matching, completion, you can do essay, you can put whatever questions you want into Examview. I know it seems like a little bit of work, but once you get into Examview, it's pretty easy to get to Moodle, and it's pretty easy to save your banks over the years and share with people and put them all over the place instead of having individual Word documents. Well, I hope that helps. I hope that gives you a little step up on how you can get stuff into Examview. If you have any questions, you guys know how to find me. Thanks.